Hello everybody, I'm SB, and I wanted to bring you my Week 2 coverage of the Astercord Draft League. This week, I was up against Flatz, who had by far one of the most interesting teams in the league. A lot of people decided to go for a more offensive playstyle with their draft, but Flatz decided to draft hard stall, which created a very threatening team because he got some of the best stall mons in the game: Toxapex, Garganical, Corviknight, and Wo-Chien. So that defensive core in and of itself is very difficult to break through. However, I think that I had a very good matchup just because of Palmot alone. Palmot has very good coverage into his team, and there's not much that can actually threaten Palmot offensively, and it can break through his team. And going into it, my win condition was trying to get Palmot in as many times as I could just so I could click Double Shock. I actually didn't have close combat on this set because I wanted Wish Protect so I could keep myself healthy throughout the entire game. So, going into game 1, I led with MUK because my MUK had Taunt just to disrupt. Here, I knocked off Tinkatuff's Eviolite, which was big because it takes so much less damage, and I blocked Thunder Wave right here. So immediately Palmot has gotten in once, which is huge because there are no real switch-ins to Palmot because Flatz doesn't know that I don't have close combat. So Double Shock gets his first kill on turn 3, which is huge. Yeah, Pex comes in because once I use Double Shock, I can't use it again unless I Terra Electric, and I wanted to save my Terra at the time because I wasn't sure if he wanted to, if he had something like up his sleeve that could have really messed up my Palmot and just trapped and removed it. So I go Sarina because Sarina can rapid spin away any infestation, any hazards, or it can just U-turn out if there are any problems. So I go Sarina here, and I make my first misplay here by rapid spinning. I didn't need to rapid spin here at all because it's Toxic Spikes. I could have just U-turned out into MUK. I do understand the idea behind rapid spinning because it gives me a speed boost in case something like Sawsbuck wants to come in, but I still think at the end of the day U-turning out into MUK was a much better intermediate play. But I do rapid spin, so I lose a bit of tempo here since we're U-turning at the same time and he gets the slower U-turn. But luckily I do get a Flame Body Burn, which just adds more chip damage to Corviknight. As Garganical comes out, I bring in MUK, and he Iron Defenses. Iron Defense Garganical was one of the sets I was most scared of going into testing, so I brought multiple ways to deal with it. And he reveals Block. And revealing Block here is actually very good for me, because that means that he either doesn't have Salt Cure or he doesn't have Body Press, because he has to have Iron Defense, he has Block, and he needs Recover. So he's either missing important offensive damage, or he's missing residual damage. But even here, yeah, I get paralyzed once. Because of my Covert Cloak, I don't get Salt Cured, and I'm able to knock him off. But he's just going to keep setting up Iron Defense boosts, and I couldn't taunt him in time. So what I do here is I Terra Ghost. Now, Terra Ghost not only makes me immune to Body Press, but it also makes me immune to trapping, which is very important, because then I get my taunt off, and I get to switch into Diancie. Diancie now reveals Red Card, which phases out Garganical. Phasing out Garganical there is huge because he spent a lot of time getting Iron Defense boosts just to lose his leftovers and get sent out. So I'm very happy with the way that went. I go into Moltres on Sawsbuck as he reveals Swords Dance. Swords Dance is by far like the scariest Sawsbuck set for my team, just because I opted for Adamant and Modest on my Palmot and Moltres for a little bit of extra damage, and that means that I have no Pokemon faster than Sawsbuck, which is a massive problem because it can just Serene Grace Headbutt flinch me to death, which is very bad. So I was just hoping for good fortune at this point, and the crit. But luckily, I managed to break through the flinch chance. If that hadn't have crit, it was a roll to 2-hit KO me with Headbutt. So I had the chance of it not critical hitting, the chance of me surviving, and the chance of Flame Body Burn. But luckily, I was just able to break through the flinch and remove the big offensive threat to his team. So that's very big for me. I just go hard Diancie here on the Iron Defense, and I reveal Fake Tears. The idea behind Fake Tears is that it forces a trade. My opponent is forced to either stay in, get multiple special defense drops, and get revenge killed by Iron Jugulus, or to switch out and to forfeit his boosts. So, Fake Tears Diancie was definitely the right play, because otherwise I just wasn't dealing enough damage to Garganacl, even with Expert Belt Iron Jugulus. So, he brings in Corv here as I Fake Tears. Here I go hard Palmot, because Palmot just eats hits for days and gets to throw off another double shock. Here he Terra Fairies as I double shock. That crit is actually pretty good for me, as you'll see later. It helps speed up the game, but I don't think that Corviknight was really winning the game, even if I didn't get that crit. So I double shock, getting huge damage on Corviknight as it switches out, and he goes Toxapex. So with Toxapex out, I go back into Sarina as he goes Corviknight, and because of that critical hit earlier and the burn negating leftovers, I'm able to just kill it with Power Whip. So I'm already in a very good position, 6-3. I U-turn out, quad effective on Wo-Chien, doing large amounts of damage, and I plan to sack Moltres, but Moltres actually lives, which is very big for me, because that means I get to roost up and just heal more and more, because Wo-Chien can't really touch me. And as you can see with knockoff, he's starting to risk flame body burns. So I just roost back to full, just because having the most HP on my Mons is the safest thing I can do, as I U-turn back into Sarina as he Leech Seeds. That wasn't like 5D chess or anything. I just wanted to go back into Sarina because Sarina can U-turn for the kill, but going in on Leech Seed was literally the best possible turn of events. So he protects here to stall for another turn of leftovers, but that's all in vain, because if he stays in, he loses Wo-Chien, and if he switches out into Toxapex, for example, I get to bring in Palmot yet again, and with Wo-Chien that low, it's not really going to switch in well at all to Palmot. So here, I just get to bulk up, and what Flatz attempts to do here is recover. The idea is he can live one double shock, recover off the damage, and then I can only hit him with close combat. But here, I change the order, and I bulk up first, meaning that my double shock kills in one hit, which is huge. Here, Garganacl comes in, and because I didn't have close combat, I actually had to go into Diancie and Fake Tears. So I Fake Tears here. What I should have done here is throw off a Moonblast just to keep Garganacl lower, but instead, yeah, the rounding on Showdown surprised me, and I actually took 13% from that Salt Cure, because I thought I was at higher percent. So I bring in Jugulus here to revenge kill as he goes Wo-Chien. Earth Power is fine because I'm not choice locked, and I get to throw off the Hurricane, which kills, and there's just not enough time for Garganacl to break through. I taunt here so he can't get any iron defense boosts even if he wanted to, and I Earth Power here, which with the Expert Belt is just doing way too much damage for him to heal off, and he can't, and because he didn't get the crit, Iron Jugulus just finishes off the first game, which is shockingly quick for a stall game, being only 37 turns. But I just got my stall breakers in as much as I could, and that made all the difference. Game 2, I was definitely a bit lost in the sauce. I was playing a bit off. I lead with Moltres here to threaten Tinkatuff, and I go Palmot because I didn't want to get Thunderwaved. But he makes a good play here, and he sets up Stealth Rock. Here, because my bulk up boost, Play Rough does absolutely nothing, and Terra Electric Double Shock just kills. So that's huge. Here he goes Sawsbuck. In my calcs, Sawsbuck did not take Terra Electric +1 double shock well at all, except because I was adamant and I didn't have close combat, I actually had nothing that I could do against Terra Ground Sawsbuck. So this was a huge misplay on my part, because I lost large amounts of momentum, and if he had gotten a high roll there, I lose Palmot, and the game becomes so much harder. Here, I protect so I can get one more turn of leftovers recovery so I can come back in on Stealth Rock, and I switch into Sarina, which is perfect because I go in on Stomping Tantrum. Here, Headbutt doesn't flinch, and I make another misplay here. I didn't know that my Sarina wouldn't be faster than Sawsbuck after a Rapid Spin. I did a complete miscalculation here. I should have gone for Power Whip, But instead, I rapid spin here, and as you can see, I still get outsped, and then I miss my power whip, which is very bad because I'm at the mercy of RNG here. But again, I get very lucky, and I manage to break through the headbutt flinch, which is huge because now he just can't beat my wall breakers. I U-turn out here into Moltres, which again gets another flame body burn on Corviknight, just speeding up the process. I U-turn out now into Diancie so I can get the fake tears going on, and also, or I had my red card, so I could just red card Garganacl out. Here, I was so confident I made another misplay, setting up Stealth Rock in front of a Defogger who I couldn't taunt, so I had no way of keeping Stealth Rock up. I just wasted a lot of time. Now MUK is now in against Corviknight. Normally, this would just be a free U-turn out into something like Toxapex or Wo-Chien, but my MUK is very fast. I have 144 speed EVs on my MUK, which lets me knock off Corviknight before it could U-turn, or in this case, Iron Head. So I knock off the Corviknight here, and then I taunt the Corviknight so it can't roost up, so there's nothing it can do. Here I make another misplay by going for Toxic. I expected him to hard switch out, but instead he just goes for U-turn out into Pex. But Pex doesn't want to get knocked off here, so I just get my damage on it, and now I also taunt it so it can't recover, and once I've done all that, I'm ready to just go to Jugulus and start causing problems. Expert Belt Earth Power is doing less than I thought. It was likely specially defensive Pex, but Surf is not doing anything, and there's just not a lot he can do. Here, I predict a switch into Corviknight, and I Hurricane for some extra damage, making it even harder for Corviknight to come in later. And my opponent makes a good double here into Pex, but I still just keep up so much momentum with U-turn and Jugulus that every time it comes in, it just starts causing problems. Here, I taunt on the recover, and yeah, he's forced to switch into Corviknight again. But going Corviknight is perfectly fine, because as you can see, it got knocked off, and it's starting to take damage every single turn. And I get Wo-Chien in on Moltres here, too. So I just U-turn out, planning to sack Diancie, but I actually come in on a knockoff, and since I have no item and I resist it, I'm just free to throw off a Moonblast as he Leech Seeds. I predicted a Protect here, so I just wanted to get up Stealth Rock, but it ended up not making a difference because he attempted the double Leech Seed on the switch. So now I could send in Moltres again and just start throwing off flamethrowers. I probably should have gone Sarina because there are less switch-ins to Sarina than there are into Moltres, but at this point I had so many tools still in my arsenal that I could just yet again go back into Jugulus, and I predicted the prediction of the taunt here, and I just go for Earth Power as he goes for Surf, which is huge because yeah, there's no switch in. And here, because anything kills, I go for Knockoff. That knockoff on Wo-Chien is huge because that means that it can't protect every other turn to get large amounts of leftovers recovery, and it's stuck taking Stealth Rock damage and not healing anything back. So here, Hurricane, Wo-Chien is basically dead weight at this point, and there's not a lot that Flatz can do. Earth Power is doing too much damage for him to heal off, because he's forced to either kill me and stay at low health, or recover and not gain any ground. So I just continuously Earth Power, and MUK comes in, and it's far too late for anything. Toxapex had its Rocky Helmet knocked off, Garganacl has been chipped, and Corviknight, yeah, there's nothing that can take these Terra Electric Double Shocks anymore, and MUK does manage to clean up the game despite the very, very bad early turns that I had in this game. Despite the fact that I played pretty poorly around the Sawsbuck, I think that I team built for this very well and played around the dangerous Stallmons like Corviknight, Wo-Chien, Toxapex, and Garganacl very well, so I'm very happy with that. And that's all I have for Week 2 of the Astercord Draft League. Stay tuned for Week 3, and I'll see you later. Ciao for now.